Hello there, folks. Bonkekook here, aka your Lonely Achievement God, continuing our Lawn Mowing Simulator challenge coverage with the, with the 5th amateur challenge. I almost did them out of order there. The Garden at Hilltop House. This is a bit of a long contract because we're using a Stiga. We are using a decent Stiga, but still not my favorite mowers to use, as I like to mow in first-person mode, and it's not as easy to tell exactly where you're cutting with the Stigas, to me anyways. This is a fuel challenge, so you can abuse the string trimmers if you need to. I'm not going to go into too much detail now. By this point, this is probably your 5th challenge in. You have a pretty good idea of what these challenges entail. Excuse me, there aren't very many flowers or anything like that to run into. There are a couple of trees, and there is like a patio wall. You can see in the background of the picture there that you need to avoid running into that, or you'll get a decent penalty. And there is a house there, but the house is rather easy to avoid running into. So other than that, this is a pretty straightforward challenge, so let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to grab the string trimmer right off the bat. And what we're actually going to do is turn around here, and we're going to do wide patches there, because getting our mower back in here is going to be a bit of a pain. We're going to do a big patch here so we can turn our mower when we're here. And then we're just going to line ourselves up with this right wall and follow it. And the same thing when we get to the hedge. Kind of line your trimmer up and then walk forward. And we'll do the same thing on the other side of the hedge. Line up your trimmer, just walk forward, and eventually you'll reach the hedge. And we can do the same thing. Line up your trimmer, just start walking forward. And when you get into here, it can be difficult to see where you're cutting, so just do circles. My patented circles. So that you can kind of guarantee that you're getting all the grass back inside there. Another hedge to line up with, very easy. Just like before, we're going to line ourselves up and walk forward along the wall. And same thing with this hedge. We are going to edge over here just so you don't have to get too close to those. And we're going to do the same things we have been doing over here. Give yourself a little bit of turning room so that you can get your mower in there, and then line up your cutter or your string trimmer and make your way up again. Don't worry about that cut. You cut the wrong grass warning. That's a stupid warning. It's because a part of our string trimmer is cutting through the wall, and apparently they rendered some grass on the other side, which means that when our trimmer is glitching through the wall, it somehow cuts grass that's on the other side of the wall, and it tells you, oh, that's the wrong grass. We're going to do a quick circle down here so that we don't have to go close to that. And now we're going to start working on some of these objects in the middle of the lawn. Again, we don't have a time limit, so you don't have to go as fast as I am here. I just like to kind of give myself... I like to work fast, but I like to do so controlled and patiently. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say. I don't like to waste time. I like things to be optimal. So If I can do things quickly and know that I'm doing everything properly, then I am all in. But I have no problems with being patient. And just like in the other spots, we're going to make sure that we edge here so that our mower doesn't have to turn too sharply. We'll line up along the planter here. Get that all cut. And again, we'll do a little dance there. Before we move on, we're going to do our circles around the tree. You don't really need to do this, but we don't have a time limit, so why not? These are the only... there's a couple of trees, I think, but they're the only real obstacles in the middle of the lawn here. This is mostly just a time-consuming lawn rather than a difficult one. So we'll line up along this planter and do just as we have been everywhere else. And do the same thing here. You don't have... oh, I'm sorry there. The game just froze on me. You don't have to get too close at the bottom there. We're going to do our circles again so that we don't have to get too close in. And with that done, we should just have... Let's make sure we did these two trees. Okay, we did not. So let's get these 3 trees done, and that should be everything with the string trimmer, and we can switch to the mower. I've just gotten really good at doing my circles, and so I kind of prefer that method. And it is something that if you are planning to go through the expert mode, you're going to want to learn how to do the circles. It makes things significantly faster than trying to make 2 passes. And it's very efficient, as you'll see. It barely leaves any grass behind. So we'll replace the trimmer, get on our mower, and I'm going to angle it so we're a bit higher. And then we will take a look at what we need. We do need a 99.9 cut percent. So the good news is, of course, we don't have a time limit. So if we do cut all the grass available and we still have bits and pieces left that didn't let us reach that cut percent, we can go back with the Pro View and either the mower or the string trimmer and clean up after what we've left. So no pressure. Again, just take your time. Work your way around the lawn. We need to cut to a 5 centimeter height. And away we go. It's very rude to require us to go back in there. Make sure you do the Pro View. As you can see, we missed... Tried to do an Austin Powers there, it felt like. There we go. I don't like when using the Stego mower and having to mow in the third person, and then they put trees up above the lawn, which interfere with your ability to see the lawn. Not a big fan of that. Just like before, we've done in other challenges, kind of turn your camera when you're going through the bushes so you can make sure that you're cutting everything. And you can kind of run your mower right up against the wall in the hedges here. Again, I do apologize for the angle. But when it comes to those bushes, it's easiest to see everything from behind, or from the side there, so you can get a better view of the grass that is under the bushes. Look at that. Almost 10% of the lawn is cut already. Aren't we amazing? Once you get into the middle of the lawn, you will have to worry about your engine overloads a bit more. Currently, we're still working our way around the outside where the grass isn't nearly as high as it gets in the center. We'll try to angle the camera so we can see a little bit better in these back corners, but that's extremely rude to me. Like, I get for decorative purposes you want trees on the lawn, but blocking the third-person camera is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. And other than the fact that this is going to be a somewhat time-consuming contract, there isn't a whole lot of difficulty to this. Okay, we got this section of the lawn done, so we're going to head back down this back hill. And get everything cut there, and continue our lap around. Again, if you need to, you can, you know, kind of turn the camera so you can see under the bushes a little bit, but you shouldn't need to do that anymore after a second pass. And we're actually going to cut this off and work on this lower section now. We're about, 13 minutes into the actual mowing contract, and we're only at 20%. Though we did spend a good portion of that weed eating, so... Sorry, I turned a little bit early there. So you can kind of estimate out how long it's going to take you. If we assume it took us, 5 minutes to do the weed eating, probably means we only have 10 minutes for 10 to 15%, somewhere in there, so... Or excuse me, 7 minutes for 10 to 15%. Probably means we have another 30 minutes, 25 to 30 to finish the contract, but we'll see. Might be less than that. So I know I've covered this in some of my other videos as well, but to manage overloads, there's a couple of ways you can do that. If you're cutting with a certain side of your mower, so right now we're cutting with the right, if you see you're going to overload, you can kind of turn your mower to the right while you overload. So, for example, we'll try to overload here. And then I just turned to the right and the overload went down. Now, you're still going to miss grass if you do that, but on your next lap, when you make it around, you can just, pop out and clean up the grass you missed on your previous lap. You can also, if you're going to overload, start tapping like this. That will, keep your speed down and allow your mower to recover without bringing yourself to a complete stop. Or you can come to a complete stop. I don't recommend the complete stop method if you're in a timed challenge, but in the fuel challenges, feel free to just stop moving. And I know we had overloaded our engine over here last time, and I just want to make sure that we didn't miss any grass, especially in this kind of dark section here. It's difficult to tell, and that's kind of why I like the Pro View, because where the dark sections are, the Pro View lights everything up. So, no offense to the Stega brand of mowers. I'm sure in real life they are excellent mowers, but they are not my favorites in the game. And there's no use in trying to sponsor me by buying me a Stega mower, because my lawn is too small for that. It's worth a shot, right? But something else that you want to try to do to help manage your overloads is kind of pick a point on the front of your mower. I try to visualize the entire front of the mower as like 100% from left to right. And if we're cutting with the right side or left side, then the percentage of new grass that we're cutting is a certain percent across the front of the mower. So in this case, we're cutting with the left side of the mower, and right between those two indents, halfway down the front of the mower would be 50% new grass. I try to cut about 75%, between 50 and 75% new grass on each lap. And you kind of have to know, how tall the grass is, how good your mower is, how fast your mower is, all that stuff, to really get a good idea of what percentage you can handle without overloading your engine. But you're going to want to kind of get into the habit of that. And you can do this in first-person mode too if you prefer mowing in that. But you're going to want to get in the habit of doing that. Because in expert mode, you really need to be able to keep your speed up but continue to cut. So, and you don't have the ability to... Okay, just wanted to make sure. You don't have the ability to waste time on expert mode. So you can't come to a complete stop And you have to be able to still move quickly and continue to cut in order to complete some of the challenges. So being able to figure out how much new grass you can cut in each pass without overloading your engine is an important skill for the later challenges. And it's a good idea to practice it now. And I completely missed the edge of the grass there. I have terrible eyes. I'm not gonna, I'm never gonna lie to you guys and gals about that. My eyes are awful, so I always appreciate accessibility options and brightness settings and things that allow me to see easier, and so that's why I do talk up the ProView quite a bit, especially in the darker areas, because it helps me out significantly. I have a degenerative disease of both my corneas, so I've already had a transplant in one eye, and we're looking like I'm probably going to need a transplant in the other. And always fun. So I appreciate it when I can change the brightness, or visual things are given alternative color schemes or things like that, so I can find one that works best for me. I don't know if there's really a better option than the ProView for this game, but maybe being able to turn off shadows would help quite a bit. I don't know. I get that it's not the primary focus when you're making a game, but little things like that can be important and improve the experience of people. Not that I don't already love this game. Okay, so we got the big lawn done, and now we're going to move on to the smaller one down here. Okay, it's not much smaller. Just be careful going downhill, because you do get more speed, and it's easier to overload your engine at the higher speed. And the same goes when you're going uphill. You can actually relax a little bit, and because it's less likely you'll overload your engine with the natural resistance of going uphill, causing you to go slower. I'm actually going to cut across the lawn here, and we're going to divide this lawn. Just be cautious if you ever do this, because you're going to be cutting a lot more grass than your mower can probably handle. So you're going to have to tap the accelerator to get across the lawn without overloading your engine. Or another option is you can attempt to back up to do it too, because you do back up at a much slower speed than you can drive forward. For a while there, I actually tested to see if I could complete the expert challenges by driving backwards, because the overloads are far less of a problem at the lower speed, but I was finding it difficult to do. I was trying to find every strategy I could to pass along in my videos. The driving backwards strategy did not help. Not a whole lot else to say. I'm just not that big of a fan of the Stiga mowers, so I find their contracts to be a bit boring. I don't really feel like I'm making a lot of progress when I drive these. The one you get to use in the Expert Challenge, there's at least some breaks in the monotony, but for these amateur ones where we've used the Stiga mower, there's just not a lot of variety. It's mostly grass. There are, of course, like 5 trees in this entire lawn, but it's a rather boring cut. Again. And we're going to do another quick pro view just to make sure we got everything. And now we can move on to the hill over here. We're probably going to get this done a little bit faster than I had estimated. I think my estimate was going to place us at around 40 minutes. 40 to 45, and we're at 28 minutes or 29 minutes right now, so probably going to be slightly under that. And I will say, well, I appreciate the realism of there being cars driving around on the road and people walking by. 90% of the contract, you never even see them. And it just feels like an unnecessary tax on the level. Of course, this is coming from someone who has had some issues with recording quality because the frame rate of the game drops a little bit. Not so much on this one, it seems like, although we are mowing in third person instead of my preferred first person, so that could be the difference too. I'm sorry, I know, I'm babbling now. Not a whole lot to talk about. And there it is, folks. We are just at the end. 99.5, and we should have enough here to get to the 99.9. And there we go. We have completed the contract. Again, it's not a timed contract, so if you do finish cutting all of the grass there and you still have still need a percent or a tenth of a percent or two or whatever, you can grab the string trimmer and run around, or get on the mower and run back around using the Pro View to scope out what you left behind. And depending on how much you've run the mower and how much fuel you have left, grabbing the string trimmer is probably a better idea. But once you get the 99.9% cut, you can replace everything and leave the location. As always, if you have any questions or comments for me, reach out to me. I will happily answer your questions. But if not, I will see you guys next time.